Hey everyone, welcome to Red Sox Weekly on BostonSportsRadio.net. As always, I'm Ashish Sharma, joined by Brian Roach, and for the next 30 minutes, we'll be breaking down this very eventful week in Red Sox baseball, starting with the fact that today, Brian, Xander Bogaerts was actually promoted to AAA from AA. I think that's a good sign of things to come. I think we could maybe see him on the Major League roster very soon, if not this year, at least at the beginning of next year.
Yeah, I mean, like, he's been hitting the ball well. He had a very hot June. He has now a total of 6 home runs, 35 RBI, 5 stolen bases, and 6 chances. He's looked good offensively, and defensively he's looked pretty solid as well. He could be shortstop. He could be third. I don't know if they've tried him out in right field yet, but they might try that eventually. But right now he looks really solid as a shortstop. So now there's a fourth person in this three-person like tandem with Iglesias, Stephen Drew, and Will Middlebrooks. Now
Right. No, I
Bogarts is in the mix, so
Right. No, I think Brian, what he does is, as you said, he brings a lot of flexibility with his ability to play multiple positions, including the outfield. Obviously, Stephen Drew here is the weakest link. He does have a lot of money owed to him this year, but he's cut loose at the end of the year since it's a one-year deal for 9.5 million, 10 million with incentives. Middlebrooks, obviously, him being so young, does have options if he continues to struggle and Xander Bogaerts continues to play well. You could see a little switch there, and maybe,
yeah.
Middlebrooks gets optioned back down to develop some more. We've seen it happen, with Daniel Bard. There's no reason to believe the same can't happen with Middlebrooks. As far as Jose Iglesias goes, coming into this year, I'll be honest, I was telling you, I used to love this kid, but I just don't see it. There's just too many options that are better than him. But he's been producing. He's really and he's driving the ball. He looks like a better hitter at the plate. He's more confident, comfortable. He's drawing walks. So I don't know how long this could continue. He's not going to hit 400 plus for the rest of the year. That's not going to happen. But if he can show that he can be a decent hitter most of the time, then I have no reason keeping him around until Xander Bogaerts is ready, and then who knows what happens then. But that's sort of a situation that we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
I mean, we'll see what happens tonight because Stephen Drew and Middlebrooks have both struggled since Middlebrooks has been activated. So Iglesias could go in for Stephen Drew tonight instead of Middlebrooks, so Middlebrooks can get more at bats. It's only been 10 at bats, so let's give him a little bit of a break. I mean, he did good at Pawtucket with the 2 home runs and 6 RBI, but I think his first at bat he got that RBI single, and since he's 0 for 9 with 3 strikeouts on the walk. So we'll see what happens tonight, what John Farrell decides to do. If I was John Farrell, what I would do is put Iglesias at short for tonight. So
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what he does tonight. But while we're on the topic of the minors, the Major League Baseball amateur draft was last week, and the Red Sox had a top 10 pick, 7th overall, in fact, and they selected pitcher Trey Ball. Brian, what do you think of this?
I think he'll be pretty solid. He's a lefty. He can throw in the mid-90s. He's a high school kid, so, and he decided he's gonna play for Texas, so the Red Sox can still sign him, but I don't know. I mean, it's not a long shot, but it's gonna be a while before we even see this kid.
Right, right. Yeah, no, but just looking at his scouting report right now, as you said, he's going to be out of our minds for a little while, but he's 6'5", 175 pounds. He's got an arsenal that includes a 90 to 93 mile an hour fastball, a changeup that lives around 78 to 80 miles an hour, and a slider that goes from 80 to 84. So if I'm looking at him to be a really good pitcher at the major league level, ultimately when we get there, and ultimately if it's with the Red Sox, I'm going to look for him to develop a 4th pitch. I don't think you can live with just 3 pitches, especially if you don't have a good curveball in there, which I don't see in his scouting report. So, right now I kind of like what I've seen, just based on what I've seen from the scouting report, but I do want to see one more pitch in there. I don't think 3 is enough.
Mm-hmm.
They did make some other picks, but the first pick that they had, they did take Trey Ball. Going back to Middlebrooks, I want to switch gears again. He is back, as we said. He continues to struggle. So, again, we'll see what happens tonight. You were talking about Jose Iglesias possibly starting the night. I don't know if the lineups are out yet. I don't.
No, they're not out yet. They'll be out in like a couple hours, but
Okay, so yeah, so we'll find out what happens then. Now, last week we actually had a really good series against the Rangers at home at Fenway Park with John Lester taking on Derek Holland. Lester struggled in this game. He was not as sharp as his final stat line indicates. He went 6 innings. He gave up 3 runs and 3 walks. He struck out 4, but he allowed 2 home runs on and 7 hits. So Lester continues this slide here where he just hasn't been sharp, and it's continued. We'll get to that further down in the show. But Derek Holland also wasn't that good himself. But I think what we'll remember from this game was the epic rally. The Sox, I believe in the 6th or 7th inning, were down 3 runs. They rallied to tie the game, and then in the bottom of the 9th, Big Papi showed up and in walk-off fashion won the game for the Sox. I thought that was pretty cool.
oh yeah, especially since Gomes led off the inning with a double, and then they intentionally walked Dustin Pedroia to put first and second, no one out, and Big Papi took the first pitch right out of and into the Rangers bullpen. His shirt afterwards was hilarious, famous
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
F.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can't do that to Ortiz. Give him more reason to hit the ball out of the park. And I mean, the Red Sox have been doing good. They've won all their series in June. They're 8-3 in June. They're 5-2 this past week. So
Right. No, going back to the walk-off, as I said, the Red Sox came back and tied the game 3-3 and took it into the bottom of the 9th where Johnny Gomes hit the double, and then they intentionally walked Pedroia. I think, obviously, that was Ron Washington's call to do that. I didn't understand the decision. Obviously,
yeah,
Pedroia is a dangerous hitter, and the only significant run is at second, so if you're going to walk someone with first base open, it makes sense. But Dustin Pedroia, I mean, yes, he's a great hitter, but you want to put on Dustin Pedroia to face arguably the greatest clutch hitter in the history of the game. I don't care that you're
yeah,
bringing in. I don't care that you're bringing in a lefty to get the lefty-lefty matchup. David Ortiz over the last 3 years has killed lefties. So
yep,
that really didn't make sense to me. If this was 2005, then I would have said absolutely. I'll take a chance with Papi with a lefty-lefty matchup. But when you take into account that he is arguably, again, the greatest clutch hitter in the history of the game, that was his 11th walk-off home run. He has something like 18 walk-off hits or 19 walk-off hits. And you see him coming, and they actually showed a shot of David Ortiz in the on-deck circle, just kind of watching this play out. And he's
yeah.
like, okay, so you're going to put on Pedroia to face me. All right, that's cool. And he came on, first pitch, middle in, he crushed it off a lefty. So, either Ron Washington, didn't get the memo or just kind of felt cocky in that instance. But I thought that was pretty cool to see David Ortiz come in and show that he has at least one more walk-off home run left in him.
Yeah, I mean, they've been doing very well as a team. I mean, the pitching has died off a little bit besides Buchholz, who's going to be pushed back again until Sunday because of neck stiffness. But yeah, I mean, the pitching's been doing well. The hitting's been the best in the majors. So
Right, so we'll see. Hopefully it continues. Obviously, they've gotten off to a great start here in June. And it kind of started off a little weird, or rather a few games ago when they had a doubleheader on Saturday,
oh yeah,
which was the bullpen absolutely collapsed, which we'll just talk about now. Obviously, in the first game of that doubleheader against the Angels, they were actually scheduled to open that series on Friday, but because of heavy rain, they had to move it to a doubleheader on Saturday. And in game one of that doubleheader, Felix Doubront took the hill. I thought he was pretty good. 6 innings, 3 earned runs, 6 hits, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts, no home runs. I think that is Felix Doubront, who's your, back end, number 4 guy in the rotation. I thought that was pretty good. And he gave the team a chance to win, but it was the bullpen that really cost them this one.
yeah, especially Frank Morales, the 4 earned runs. He had 2 bases loaded walks. Miller had a bases loaded walk. The Red Sox actually lead the league in bases loaded walks.
Yeah, they have something like 5 or something.
Yeah. And like 3 or 4 of those came this past week. So
Yeah, it was absolutely awful. I'm looking at the stats right now. Morales came in. He pitched 2/3 of an inning, 4 earned runs. Clayton Mortensen, he was pretty good. I mean, he did give up an earned run. He gave up 2 runs. 1 was earned over 1 2/3 innings. But, I put the loss on Franklin Morales. Doubront ended up taking the loss. But,
yeah,
if
the Red Sox actually rallied in the 9th to score like 3 runs. So
Right. And they ended up losing, I believe, 9-5 was the final score. So, luckily Game 2 was a lot better. They had their ace on the mound, Clay Buchholz, who was absolutely fantastic in his game. But the scare there, as you mentioned, was he had to leave with neck stiffness and is getting pushed back.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the Red Sox need to be cautious with Buchholz. I mean, he is injury prone. We've noticed that with back injuries, neck injuries. In this game, it looked like he was gonna get hurt when he like rolled over into first base. I'm in first base. I'm surprised he was able to keep control of that ball. It looked like it was gonna like pop out, but
Yeah, no, that was a fantastic play. And again, he pitched lights out again versus C.J. Wilson. He went 6 2/3, giving up 2 earned runs on 6 hits, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. Again, he now has a 1.71 ERA. He's 9-0. He's going to be the All-Star starter if it lines
yeah,
up correctly,
yeah.
and if he's healthy. And B, he is absolutely no doubt the #1 candidate if he continues this to win the American League Cy Young Award. I mean, he is having one hell of a season here.
Yeah, he's been by far the Cy Young winner in the American League. In the NL, it's Corbin for me, Patrick Corbin for the Diamondbacks, who's also 9-0. So.
Right, and I'm looking at this game. A couple guys that have actually been pretty good, flying under the radar. I know we've been talking about Junichi Chizawa and Koji Uehara. Craig Breslow, who I've never been a huge fan of, has actually been pretty decent. He had 1 1/3 scoreless innings. So, and he's not a guy that I always thought of super reliable, but, he's come in and he's done his job, and he did that game, and the Red Sox were able to win 7-2, and they pummeled the Angels, and then they were able to take the next game after that thanks to a couple home runs by Carp and Salty.
Oh, yeah, that Salty is starting to hit really well. He's been working on hitting from the right side because he's better from the left side, but people think he should be able to hit from both sides since he's a switch hitter. And he was able to hit a couple home runs on Sunday, and he actually went back-to-back with Carp, and the same guy caught both of them. Like it went in the exact same spot, which is kind of funny because you don't see that too often, that 2 guys going back-to-back hit in the exact same spot. So.
Right. No, I agree. I think Saltalamacchia has quietly put together a great season. I mean, I don't have his stats in front of me, but I think he's hitting like 285 right now with 28 RBI or something like that. I'd have to pull it up. But he's actually been pretty good. Obviously, the right side of the plate has not been his friend, but which we'll get to in the game against the Rays a couple nights ago, he had a pretty big base hit in the bottom of the 14th inning from the right side of the plate. So he's looking very confident up there. He can be a very streaky hitter in a sense. I think maybe he's a distant relative of the Drew family, but he can be very streaky himself. But yeah, as long as Saltalamacchia continues to hit like this, I think you got to feel pretty good about the bottom of the order, especially with Iglesias down there with him.
Oh yeah, I mean, we'll see if he can continue hitting the ball I mean, he's always been a power hitter, but like just getting those clutch singles and whatnot, and seeing how he can do. So.
Right. And, let's move on now to the most recent series. The Red Sox took 2 out of 3 from the Tampa Bay Rays down at Tropicana Field. Game 1 was John Lackey taking on, I don't even remember who he took on. I just remember it was John Lackey versus Matt Joyce. That's the matchup that I remember from this game. Just to give everyone sort of a recap of what exactly happened, the play-by-play of how this kind of transpired in the first inning, of the bottom of the first inning after the Red Sox scored 6 runs in their first inning. John Lackey surrendered 2 solo shots, I believe. One was to Matt Joyce. And then in Matt Joyce's next at-bat, he crushed the ball deep down the right field line, dropped the bat, pimped his bat and everything. Oh, it was a foul ball. And then he ended up grounding out to end the inning. And John Lackey went over to him as he was walking away, and he was like, hey, don't do that. Like, you could kind of read his lips. And then he started barking at the Rays dugout. And then, what do you know, in Matt Joyce's next at-bat, he gets plunked right between the numbers, and it ends up clearing the benches. Now, was John Lackey right in this instance? Joe Madden had some things to say, and he said that was a selfish thing to do in that instance for John Lackey. What do you think?
Well, John Lackey said when he mouthed, well, he probably said it, but from what we can see, he mouthed it. He said, I didn't mean to do that to Matt Joyce. Like, I mean, maybe he did, maybe he didn't. I don't know. Like, I mean,
Well, if you ask me, Brian, that was completely intentional. I mean, you could tell that John Lackey was not pleased with the way that Matt Joyce handled that second at bat there.
Well, what I think is John Lackey, before he hit him, he had 6 straight batters. So why ruin a groove by hitting someone? And that ended up costing them a run because the next guy hit a double, and then
Yeah, it was Zobrist.
so
Yeah, Zobrist
yeah.
hit a double down the right field line to make it runners at the corners, and then I believe
Zobrist was 5 for 6 in that game. You don't do that.
insane. But yeah, no, tempers flared in that game, and then you know, there was a little bit of a carryover effect into the next game with Dustin Pedroia getting hit.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But yeah, that was a great win, especially blowing a 6-0 lead and then blowing an 8-6 lead.
Oh, Andrew Bailey was absolutely terrible. I mean, I believe he came.
I'm surprised he got out of it. It was bases loaded, nobody out. He walked in the tying run.
I think the sequence of events, he came and gave up a solo shot, then a single, then another single, and then a walk or something like that.
No, he walked a guy. He walked like 3 guys in the inning. So
okay, the point is he gave up a run and then he bloated the bases, and the tying run came in. And then they still had the bases loaded and an opportunity to end the game with Evan Longoria.
With Evan Longoria.
And
he
Evan
grounded
Longoria
out
with one out. He grounded out to Will Middlebrooks. Middlebrooks came home for the 5-2-3 double play was it to end the inning?
No, that was to get the first 2 outs.
Right,
and then
Pedroia,
Sam Fold.
He tried to win with the squeeze play, and Pedroia made a fantastic defensive play. He charged the ball, flipped it to Carp, and got the final out. I thought that was an absolute.
Pedroia made a couple nice plays to save runs. Like there was one
sliding play at the mound.
Yeah, at the mound. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Pedroia continues to impress me. I mean, like, I know a lot of people laugh when I say this, but I honestly think he could win 10 Gold Gloves by the time his career is over. I mean, he's 29 years old. If he continues to play this well for the next, he's already got 2. I think he can do it. I mean, he's just
he is. He's like even injured, he can still do this. So
it's absolutely amazing. So yeah, I mean, there you go. And you know, in Game 2, John Lester took the ball. And as we've been saying, he hasn't been pitching well. He only went 4 2/3. And after the way the bullpen was stretched in that game, and you look at the fact that Franklin Morales had to miss his spot start on Wednesday because he had to work in this game, you were looking for Lester to kind of save the pen here. He didn't do it. 4 2/3 innings, and he took an 8-3 loss. He ended up giving up. Was it 8 runs he gave up or 7? I can't.
7. De La Torre gave up the other one.
Right. De La Torre came in and pitched 3 1/3, and you know, it was kind of a disappointing effort to see from John Lester. I don't know if he's hurt or something else is going on, or if he's working too much. That's another thing that we've been talking about is maybe his pitch counts are running dry.
I mean, maybe the 4 2/3 will help him rest for his next start, but he walked 7 guys. In his first 9 starts, he was 6-0 with a 2.72 ERA. His last 5, a 6.90, and he's 0-3. So, I mean, maybe it's a simple flaw in his mechanics. Like maybe he's too far on one side of the rubber. I mean, because it looks like his pitches are going too far outside, too far inside. So maybe it's just a simple maneuver. Like maybe he puts his foot somewhere else. Maybe he doesn't rotate as much. Maybe because he's still throwing 93, 94. That's what we've seen him at all year. So
you know what? I think if it's mental fatigue or what it is or physical fatigue, maybe you just let him miss a start and just have. I mean, Aceves has done good as a spot starter. Maybe you just have Lester miss a start and come back. You know, maybe he could use some rest, both physical and mental, because he just ever since he threw that complete game shutout 1-hitter. He just hasn't been the same guy since then.
Yeah.
And we're talking about, 4 starts since then?
5 starts.
So, yeah, and they've all been either mediocre or bad. And leading up to that, I mean, you've just said the numbers. In his last 3 starts, he's been horrible. And, you know, and 2 of them have been okay. You know, so if I'm John Farrell, I'm seriously considering letting John Lester miss a start here or something. Or maybe there's a day off. I haven't looked at the schedule. So maybe you could just skip him and not have to use a spot starter. So you know, that's something that they could strongly consider with John Lester. And, you know, again, that they got a huge win out of yesterday, who I wasn't expecting. Alfredo Aceves got the spot started, as we said, for Franklin Morales. He came in, he gave them 6 innings, 4 hits. He did walk 4, but he allowed 2 earned runs, and got, or rather 1 earned run, and got the win. And now he's 3-1. And I think I see a different guy now with Alfredo Aceves. I mean, the only one run that he gave up was the homer to Evan Longoria. And I remember you and I were talking before the show that they have another doubleheader coming up, and he could be the 26th man on the roster for that doubleheader on Tuesday.
Yeah, Aceves only needed 85 pitches to go through those 6 innings too, so he could have gone another inning maybe. But I mean, John Farrell probably didn't want to push it, save him for that doubleheader on Tuesday. Well, I mean, he'll get plenty of rest. Hopefully, he can go back down and come back up, because they need someone to pitch in that doubleheader. They're not gonna push off someone, like have someone pitch on 3 days rest and stuff like that. So
right.
Yeah,
no,
but
I think his mentality has changed completely since being optioned down.
yeah, but I mean, it was an overall great win. Bailey looked good in the ninth. I mean, he had that leadoff single, but he struck out two on a nasty curve to end the game too. It was a runner on second, 2 outs. I mean, everyone was looking for something good to come out of Bailey, and that curveball is what it was.
Right. No, I think and obviously previous to that, let's say that he got, obviously it was a disaster when he came into the game and, loaded the bases and was somehow able to get out of it. But I think the best thing for a closer, if you're a closer and you come in and you blow a game that badly, or well, he blew the save, but he didn't blow the game because they ended up winning. But when you do that, I think as a closer, the first thing you want to do is get another opportunity the next day. You just want to get an opportunity to put that one, kind of turn the page on that and kind of move on. And that's what happened. Bailey did not let it kind of defeat him. He came in and he was really good last night. So, hopefully, and he's been really good this season. So hopefully that doesn't affect him. All closers, good or bad, have moments like that. And hopefully it's not something that will define him for the rest of the season, because he's been really good, especially after this guy went on the 60-day disabled list, Joel Hanrahan. So, we thought...
I don't even remember the last time he pitched.
I mean, honestly, I remember... I mean, I know it's a little off on a tangent, but I remember when we were in spring training and talking about Joel Hanrahan, we thought he was going to be the closer and Andrew Bailey was getting shipped out. So, it's amazing that now we're in, mid-June, and it's like, yeah, Andrew Bailey's actually your full-time closer, and Joel Hanrahan is not in the picture. So it's pretty funny. Okay, let's move on now to the news that broke yesterday. David Ortiz was asked, I believe, by Robinson Cano, who's the captain of the home run derby again this year. He was asked to participate, and David Ortiz said that will be a resounding no, or something to that effect. He was like, no, absolutely not. I believe that, he said something along the lines, Brian, you know this better than I do, that I'm too old for this, or it's more of a younger guy.
Yeah, he said it's a younger man's competition, so he's going to let the younger guys, like Evan Longoria. I don't know if Evan Longoria would actually do it, because he's been injury prone and he wants to keep his power swing, because what happens when you go to the home run derby and you do good, you lose your power stroke. Bobby Abreu knows about it. Adrian Gonzalez
knows about it. There you go. And somehow David Ortiz didn't get affected by it, but it is a very mentally and physically exhausting event. Because you go up there and you take so many hacks and you're trying to hit it out of the ballpark. I mean, it's like batting practice on steroids. No pun intended. But it is. I mean, it pretty much is. Like when you do normal BP, you go up, you take some hacks, you're not trying to kill the ball, and then you just kind of walk out. But this is round after round, and then you're waiting around for a long time while other guys are hitting, so you cool off. You're trying to get warm again. And it can screw up guys' swings. It can make them come out of their swing, and I think that's why I'm glad David Ortiz participated all those years. I'm glad he finally won it in 2010. But at the same time, I'm glad he's not doing it anymore, because I don't think he has to. It's a fun event, but step aside and let someone else do it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe like a Chris Davis, that'd be fun to see. Josh Hamilton, he was fun to see, but look at what happened to him.
This year, so I don't think he's going to be getting a call.
What's he hitting, 210?
Something like that. He's having a horrible season. But speaking of the All-Star game, let's sign off on this. A lot of people, I know Rob Bradford of WEI.com has been on the NESN broadcast the last couple nights, and even before that, and he has been campaigning crazily for Daniel Nava to make this All-Star team. He's not even on the ballot. I think Johnny Gomes is on the ballot. Daniel Nava's not. But there are ways that he can get on, whether it's the coaches or the final, the last spot or whatever. There are ways that he can get on. Daniel Nava, between you and me, we both think that he's absolutely deserving to get on this All-Star team. But when you look at a list of sexy names, in terms of outfielders, he's not one of them. Nobody knows outside of Boston or New York knows who Daniel Nava is. So do you think? I mean, we both agree he's deserving, but hey, I mean, do you think that he'll make the team?
I mean, maybe not as like the regular vote, maybe the like last man vote, or if someone's hurt, he'll take over their spot, something like that. I don't see him being voted in as one of the starters. Maybe like bench, like the manager choosing him because he's a switch hitter. He can walk. He can hit the home run. He has a amazing OBP. He's hitting almost 300, or he's hitting around 300. So
Yeah, and he's got, I think, the top 5 OPS, or maybe the best OPS among American League outfielders. He's got a great average. He's hitting for power. He's got 8 home runs. He's got a lot of RBI.
9 home runs.
9 home runs. That's right. I forgot he homered. So I mean, I think he's deserving. I agree, he's not getting in as a starter. I mean, I think you got to earn your stripes if you want to be a starter, especially if you're a guy like Daniel Nava who literally came out of nowhere. But when we look back and talk about Daniel Nava and his story, I mean, I still remember where I was when he hit that grand slam in his first at bat. I was sitting.
He used to be like clean laundry.
Yeah,
like, that's what he used to be.
I mean, when you look at the story, and now potential to be an all-star. I remember I was sitting down on my couch watching. I was like, "Who's this Nava guy? Oh yeah, this is the guy they called up." First pitch, he crushes it, and I was like, "Whoa, check that out!" and I mean, you think about it, and you see how far he's come, and the fact that he has a chance to be an all-star. Who wouldn't want to see that? You know how great that would be. I mean, I can't wait for the documentary. I can't wait for the documentary of how Daniel Nava became an all-star. I can't wait for that to come out.
It's probably gonna happen. I mean, they already have like movies on Tim Wakefield's knuckleball. Like,
there you go. So I am totally 100% on board for Daniel Nava making the All-Star team. It's just now a matter of whether or not it happens. It will be a shame if he doesn't make it. Absolutely not as a starter. As I said, like you got to earn your stripes to get that. But if he can get on as like the 30th man on the squad, that would be, I think, that would make him, his family, and I think all of Red Sox Nation ecstatic. So see whether or not that happens. All right, that's pretty much all the time that we have on this edition of Red Sox Weekly on BostonSportsRadio.net. Brian and I will be joining you guys every Thursday, it looks like, for this this show. So looking forward to it. And we'll see you guys next week. He's Brian Roach. I'm Aashish Sharma. See you then.